Hey Jackie, it's Ginger Hendricks, your writing teacher. You could probably tell. I've read your family discovery essay. I wanted to give you some feedback on it. Yeah, it's full of these totally great stories. You're a really good storyteller. I don't want you to hear me say that. It's just terrific in that way. The details and the character that you give us in your grandmother are really great. There's a lot of depth and richness in the essay in that way, so nice job. I think in terms of how I want to help you to revise it is to do a little reflecting for you here about the basic structure. And all roads sort of begin for conversation about structure at what the intent of the essay is. And right now, as I understand it, the intent is this thing. And intent meaning the divisio, the declared idea. As I continue to interview my Nana, more light was shed on the true nature of my family and why education has been established at its core. I think that's your working divisio. And then what I would say about that is that it's not, the rest of the essay doesn't match it yet. So the divisio is supposed to be the promise, and then the confirmatio is the delivery, basically, promise and delivery. So you deliver what you promised, and here you deliver something much more interesting than what you promised. So that's my first piece of feedback for you. I think you have yet to discover what the real divisio is, which is why they don't match. So I don't feel convinced that this is the divisio. In fact, I could be wrong about it. Sort of took a guess that maybe this was your divisio. I'll put it down there so you can see it. This is my sad realization. But again, that doesn't match the essay. So I couldn't find it. Okay. The next thing I would say about the confirmatio is that, and I'll get back to these things I've underlined, is that we'll get down here and what I recognize is that effectively narratio and confirmatio have been interwoven, we could say. So you need to separate them. And the reason to separate them is that right now, in every paragraph, what we have is this kind of buckled together structure where you have the first half of the paragraph is a story, the second half of the paragraph is some reflection about the story. Because this stuff up here is truly narratio, if we took it out, what we'd have left over was reflection, and then you'd be able, as the writer, to see, I wonder if you can see my fingers, I don't know if you can, you'd be able to see that what's missing down here is proof or support of the reflection, which is not the same thing as the story we need to understand the reflection before we get the proof of it. So there's the story, then what you think of the story, and then proof for us or support that we can believe you about what you think, different again. And so the structure is keeping you from seeing that your ideas are unsupported. It's also keeping your ideas sort of buffered in between these stories so that it's up to us as the reader to figure out what they have to do with each other. We don't know. And that again leads back to this question of divisio. So I want you to set the essay aside. I don't want you to throw it away. I want you to set it aside. I want you to take out a piece of paper and ask yourself, what's the takeaway of all this? When you figure out the divisio, then you go back. So you take all that narratio and you put it up top, and then you go back. It's all these wonderful stories, and you figure out which ones do we really need as the readers in order to be prepared for your idea, because that's what narratio is for. It's just for preparing us for your idea. So I can't give you ideas about how to cut back the narratio, if in fact you need to, until we know what the main idea is. So that's my basic structural feedback to you. And let me run through here now, kind of line by line, to see if there's anything else that I wanted to tell you. I'm scrolling. Again, just it's great detail. I noticed another thing happening, and that was that I highlighted or underlined this word thusly. There are these moments in the essays where we have this like punching assertion of formality, is what it feels like to me. And I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's the assertion of your actual voice, writer's voice, if maybe you have a more formal voice. I don't think it's that. I think, I could be wrong, I think it's these moments of declaration where they sort of like your energy as a writer kind of like spits out, where you feel like you're supposed to say something important, and so you slip into this more formal voice. I would just watch for it. I would say, nothing wrong with formality, but you've got to use it on purpose. And so these words like thusly, which are highly formal, stand out. We hear that one of these things is not like the other Sesame Street song, you know that song? As we see them. So watch for that, okay? Okay, this sentence right here. Here we go. Okay, back to my Nana. So this was the indicator that you could tell as a writer there's something flip-floppy about the structure. That you go into an idea and then you double back to the story and then you go, so we're weaving, we're serpentining. We don't want to do that. We want to be led through. This was a sentence, however, she maintained a positive mindset through it all, that I didn't understand. It didn't seem like it matched the story. So it could be that it does, but I don't have the details about that, so I'd want to know about that. That's why I marked it. I marked this because I thought it was funny. Also, do not anger Nana. That was funny. Because she had a gun. There was that. Okay. This was another assertion of this formal voice. To this day, my Nana continues to be a positive influence for education on my siblings and continually checks to ascertain, so ascertain, very formal, that we have not veered off our studious tracks. And again, I think if that's the voice you're going to capture, then we just need to see it more consistently. It's not wrong. It's just standing out as different. Okay, I'm scrolling. Again, we kind of have the structure of story and then reflection. Then I was confused in this last line. I'm glad to have finally met her. This makes me think you've not met her before this interview. I don't think that's true, though. I think it's probably a typo. I don't know. Is that a question? Finally met her. I don't know what you mean. Okay. There you go. So quite a bit of revision organizationally. Secondly, and firstly, quite a bit of work, some work, to sit down with a blank piece of paper and ask yourself, what's the big takeaway here? I don't think it's about education. Nothing personal, but I think the essay says more than that. So you got to figure it out. Okay, good luck. Bye.